The choice New Zealanders face is between parties offering more of the same and one promising a genuine change. So many New Zealanders, and I get it every day, they tell me they think our best days are behind us, that New Zealand is in decline. Labour's massive borrowing, spending and out-of-control money printing has led directly to rampant inflation, which means everything from petrol to bread costs an average of 20% more than it did just a few years ago. The result is an economy that picks your pocket, even as it forces you to choose between filling your car and feeding your family properly. There's then a dangerous constitutional experiment dividing communities because left-wing politicians, bureaucrats and academics have reinterpreted our nation's founding document, the treaty, to fit their worldview. And that worldview is one in which there's nothing positive to be learned from our history, and in which we must be divided by our group identity first. Tangata whenua or tangata tiriti, Māori or Pākehā, trans or anti-trans, victim or oppressor, landlord or tenant, downtrodden, long-suffering beneficiary, or evil taxpayer compared with ram raiders for not paying enough tax. On the other hand, ACT is proposing an alternative budget of real change, and it steeps in our party's guiding principle that people can actually make a difference in their own lives. They can change their future. ACT's alternative budget is a tall poppy chopping device. It would cut taxes by 34 billion over 4 years, and it starts with a generous middle income tax cut, lowering the 30% tax rate to 17.5%. It also raises a rate. The 10.5% rate actually comes up to 17.5% on income under 14,000. Why would we do that? Well, the simple reason is that people who are getting that low tax rate, for the most part, are actually higher income earners who just get whacked with higher taxes further up the income spectrum. For those people on low incomes, we give a low income and middle income tax credit and an annual payment derived from the emissions trading scheme revenue, no more corporate welfare, in order that under ACT's alternative budget, every single taxpayer ends up better off. And in specific targeted areas, ACT's alternative budget actually increases expenditure. Teachers receive an average pay rise of nearly $5,000 thanks to the Teaching Excellence Reward Fund. There's no investment more critical than getting for the long-term future of New Zealand than getting the best people into the classroom and rewarding them for excellence. Defence spending is brought up to the NATO standard of 2% of GDP because the world has changed and New Zealand cannot continue to free ride on its friends. GP capitation funding is increased by 13% to keep family doctors working so people can actually get their appointments. Half the GST collected on residential construction is shared with the councils that issued the consent. So one, they can afford the connections, and two, they have an incentive to say yes to more building. Funding is provided to restore the prison population to what it was before Labor tried the dangerous experiment of letting people out of prison to see how much crime there would be. We know the answer now. It's time to go back. We fund 200 beds in a new youth wing of corrections because putting kids who commit crimes in insecure oranga-tamariki facilities that they just walk out of so that the police can play tag and release time and again is simply a joke. There needs to be a secure place where young offenders can, for the first time in their life perhaps, get the physical safety, the mental health support, the nutrition, the education to rehabilitate themselves in a place where they cannot leave.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. To stay up to date with all the latest news from the New Zealand Herald, click the subscribe button below or check out one of the videos here, and head over to nzherald.co.nz for more details on these stories and more.